to this tutorial on Nearpod. My name is Kimberly Freeney, and I'm here to help you learn how to use Nearpod's virtual field trip in order to spice up your existing PowerPoints and Google Slides. One of the main things that we talk about as teachers is that we don't have the time to make new presentations in Nearpod. And the good news is that you're going to learn today how to use your existing Google Slides or PowerPoints and add all of the Nearpod functions that your students will love. Now that we know that we can use an existing presentation right from our Google Drive, let's find one that will work as an example for us today. So I'm going to use my Weathering, Erosion, and Deposition Google Slides, and I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. One thing that is my preference is that I would rather download this as a PowerPoint presentation and then upload that into Nearpod. The reason that I like to do this is because it is much easier, in my opinion, to see all of my slides on one screen and know exactly where I would like to insert my virtual field trips, my 3D pictures, or other activities or content that come from Nearpod. So to do this, we're going to go to File, and then we're going to go to Download and choose Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, now that it's downloaded, we're going to go over to Horry County Schools Clever and open up our Nearpod. Now that you are logged into Nearpod, you're going to need to start a new lesson. So in order to do that, you're going to go to the top of your screen and you're going to click Create, and then you're going to choose Lesson. Right, now we're ready to start our first Untitled lesson. The first thing that we're going to want to do is go ahead and upload that PowerPoint that we just put onto our computer. I'm going to click Upload Files, and then I'm going to go to the Upload from my computer icon, and then here it is on my list. Then I'm going to go ahead and open that up. It does take Nearpod some time for uploading. Now that we've uploaded our slides from PowerPoint into Nearpod, we're ready to add in some of Nearpod's really cool functions. The first thing that I want to do is add a virtual field trip to the Grand Canyon into my presentation. So to do that, I'm going to click Add New, and then I'm going to look on the menu under Content, and I will see the VR field trip option, and I will click that. And I really want to go to the Grand Canyon, but I know that I would like to see Powell Point because I know there's a lot of cracked rocks in that area. So I'm going to go ahead and choose off my list here from my preview and choose Grand Canyon, and I just typed in Powell and I'm going to type in Point, and that should give me all the pictures of that location. And as you can see, I've got many options to choose from. I know that I want to choose the one at sunset because I already previewed this and I saw that it had the best options for me. So you will have to take some time to find the best picture for you. When you're ready, just click Done, and that will insert that VR field trip right into your presentation. Okay, so here is the VR field trip, and you'll notice it's at the end of all of the slides, so I'm going to need to drag that where I would like it to go. And I'd like it to go in between slides 5 and 6 because I want to use this VR field trip to see if students can identify what weathering is based on the definition from slide 5. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is tell students what they need to do with this field trip. I am going to have them view the field trip, and then I want to, after the field trip, have them identify areas that represent weathering. So to do that, I'm going to add something else. So I'm going to go to Add Content and Activities. I'm going to choose Activities, and I'm going to choose Draw It because I want them to be able to circle things right from the picture. I'm going to go ahead and add a new Draw It slide. This is the Draw It function, and the great thing here is that we can use a lot of media in order for students to stay more engaged and be able to share their understanding of the vocabulary. So first I'm going to add an image here. You can also add audio, or you could add other media in this area. But I'm going to go ahead and just add a picture of the Grand Canyon so that students can relate back to what we saw. So the great thing is I can either upload one from one of these areas that I have, if I already have something saved, but I also can just go to this Google search and I can type in something like Grand Canyon and get a picture. And I could just pick a picture of the Grand Canyon that I like, and click save, and it will populate that area. And I want to give my students some instructions. All right, so the next thing that I did in order to get the picture that I really wanted to use is that I went ahead and did a snip image of the actual VR field trip. Let me show you how to do that. The first thing I want to do is click save so that I don't lose my draw it function. And then I want to get into my virtual field trip here, and I just want to preview it. And when I'm previewing that, I'll be able to find an area where I think students will be able to really represent weathering. So I'm just going to move around here and see what all the students could see and check out while they're looking. And this works just fine on their laptops. It also can work on an iPad, it can even work on a cell phone. And if you have the VR goggles in your classroom, you have access to that. That is really the optimal way to use the VR field trip. But let's say I'm going to take a picture of this view right here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open up my snip function on my computer. To open up the snip function on your computer, you're going to in the search box and you're just going to type in snip. And when you get there, you will see that you have a snipping tool. Then you will select new. When you select new, you will be able to take your mouse and drag it over the screen, and you can go ahead and find an image that you would like to snip. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to simply save this picture so that you can insert it into your PowerPoint. Now I have a picture that I can upload right into my Draw It feature so that my students can use the Draw It feature to circle where they think weathering is occurring. Next thing we're going to do is here's our Draw It slide. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click on that. We're going to open it back up, and here is what we've already done. And now I'm just going to upload the background image that we just saved. To do that, you're just going to use this icon, which means upload from your computer. Here is the file that we just did, Grand Canyon weathering. Okay, as you can see, students now have a background image that they can circle the areas where weathering's happening, and then they can type an explanation. Let me show you how that works. This is the student preview of what the draw will look like when the student is participating in your Nearpod. So here we go with our prompt. It says to please view the picture below and circle the areas that represent weathering. All the student has to do is click on the pen or the highlighter and choose a color that they could use to show where weathering is occurring, which is breaking up rocks. So we're going to look here and see that these rocks are starting to break down because they have cracks in them and they're going to become smaller pieces. So to type about that, a student just has to click the text box and it can enter their text here. And now they've shown me that they understand that weathering is the breakdown of the rock. The next thing I want to do is add a virtual field trip to show my students an example of a real-world chemical weathering area. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click Add New once again, and then I'll choose my VR field trip. And I would like to find a place that has stalagmites because that really is a process that students find to be fascinating. And here we go, we have some really great examples of stalagmites, and I think I'm just going to pick this one, and I'm going to go ahead and insert that into my slideshow. Now all I simply have to do is drag my field trip after the chemical weathering slide so that my students can explore this cave and then discuss what they learned about chemical weathering. Now that we have our field trip in place after chemical weathering, I've decided that maybe my students need to learn a little bit more before we go on the field trip. And right here in Nearpod, we have another function that we can use, which would be to add a video right before the field trip. So I'm going to go back to Add Content and Video. And sometimes the Nearpod library has a video on this topic, but I already did a pre-search and they don't have a video on stalagmites. So I'm going to go ahead to YouTube and I'm going to just type in what I'm looking for. And I would like to show students how these form. So here's a great video for kids. I'm going to choose this video and just select it by clicking and then click save. And once you save it, you will have your video ready to go. You can add questions here. You can trim your video to become shorter if you'd like by clicking the trim. And then you are more than welcome to move up to where you'd like to have this in your video. But this video is not that long, so I'm just going to leave it as it is so that my students can enjoy this video. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and drag it between slides 8 and 9. Congratulations, you have now added 2 virtual field trips and some other Nearpod functions to your existing PowerPoint slideshow. I hope this has inspired you to create some really exciting field trips for your students right in your classroom. Please be sure to join us for the 3rd session of this Nearpod professional development, which is called Smash It, where we will be learning how to add multiple apps into your Nearpod presentation.